As with any major update to the Hunter Call of the Wild, this latest update has a lot to unpack, and one of the bigger things that we have not taken a look at yet is the buff to the 22H, and I thought Rancho would be a good map to check it out on. Obviously it got a pop reset and we've not messed with it since then, and it also will give us the opportunity to, for one, maybe hunt a little bit more with the 223 AR-15, and also take a look at the new 5th anniversary edition 454 handgun. Now, turkeys may not be the main game we're going to be chasing with the 22H, but I think it'll be a good start, and hopefully, wow, that was a pretty big difference. I was going to say, hopefully we can kind of see an improvement based on what we would have seen in the past. First of all, the animation looks really good, and the new sound I like a lot. I'm not sure that the sound of the reload, it almost feels like there's more happening than there actually is visually. It sounds good, but it doesn't necessarily match up the best for what's happening with what is a smaller caliber rifle. But left lung shot, that's normally kind of what we are able to get with the 22H soft points, but it had like a faster drop of its health from that 75 to 100 all the way down to 0 to 25. I think that's a pretty good sign, and definitely it's nice to hear a proper sound instead of that almost like default 243 sound we had in the past. This, however, is where the 22H could potentially be worth the buy, and remember that we are using the soft point rounds, so we want to make sure that we get a good broadside shot, and that may mean that we want to alert him and see if we can get him to maybe turn. I would like to think a frontal shot could work, and we'll probably test that in a little bit, but at least for our first shot on a class 2 animal with the 22H since the buff, I want a little more of an ideal shot angle, and unfortunately, he is straight back to nervous there. Maybe that could have been alright. He started to turn. Not really going down as I would like to see. I'm going to guess that maybe he wasn't broadside enough. I wanted to get that shot off when he was in a more broadside angle. That worked a whole lot better. Another one actually running off there. I think we'll let it go. Let's go up and take a look and see where that first shot impacted, because the second shot almost makes me think that we could have taken the frontal angle really with no issues, and you know, we've got a couple of polymer tip rounds in the loadout if we need them. We'll just kind of see how it did. I would say that is pretty well down to shot placement, so had he maybe stayed as broadside as he was, and the shot impacted a little more where we wanted, we might have been good. Frontal would be a risk based on that penetration that we're seeing there, and then the broadside shot, heart lung, no problem whatsoever. Now, with this particular loadout, the 22H doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense shooting a class 2 animal. The 223 would be our best option, but the whole point of going to Rancho, a map with coyotes, was to get to use that 22H a little bit, so we'll try to find another situation to use it. I actually would like to think one of these other coyotes will give us that opportunity. The problem might be getting a perfect frontal angle, but maybe even at that, I'm going to assume that had to be a heart shot. I don't even know where that one was at. Let's just see. We used to do pretty decent on Red Fox like brain shots as they were fleeing. Coyote would be a little bit bigger. I think we got that as well. Now that one doesn't necessarily speak much to the power of the 22H. That though, 25 meters, that's not super far, but it did really well considering. I'd like to test like a longer range, you know, more difficult shot. That one on the level 7 when it was turning, I really don't count that. I think it was just down to our shot placement more than anything. Brain on that, I mean, for the 3 that we've shot, it's really outperformed my expectations. I think this would qualify as difficult enough, even if it is broadside, honestly. 150 meters. In the past, the 22H at that range just would not have performed. That's a lung shot. It may be taking quite some time to go down, but it is a lung shot. And we saw before, Jackal on Verhunga much closer, and plenty of other class 2 animals. It just was not that good at range, minus like turkeys. There wasn't much point in bringing it if you had any intention of hunting, beyond about 100 meters, and again, it didn't take it down super fast, but if you needed to, it looks like it's more than capable. I'm actually curious to see the quick kill on this. Left lung at 156 meters. I would say, especially for, a small game animal, that is well into that single lung. And again, it's soft point rounds. The quick kill was 43%. Not terrible. That's kind of comparable to like a 30-06 polymer tip on a brown bear single lung. Kind of in that range. I think it did pretty well. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to fit into loadouts yet, but I think it's going to be a lot more viable than it was in the past. That is an albino whitetail buck. We've had some pretty solid rare initial spawns, a melanistic red deer stag over on Quattro, now an albino whitetail here on Rancho. I mean, we could see that from a mile away. That white, and it's even in through that brush. I wonder, had it been out in the open like the doe, if we might have seen it a little bit sooner. I could tell that was an albino from forever away, but this is kind of a cool opportunity perhaps to take something neat with the 5th anniversary 454. Not the 12 gauge gamekeeper, the pistol I think would be a little more appropriate. I'm considering the 223 as well, but especially in a spot where we can maybe just call it in and go for like a heart shot. This could be kinda cool. I think that might have to be our spot. A lot of times when you call animals in and they get up to the water, they'll kinda just end up stopping there, so aim a little high. Wanted to dip that right down into the heart, and I think we did. I have no idea where that hit, but definitely not in the lungs like I wanted. It got into something because he's going down. He started to move right as we shot, but we got the important one. I wish it was a little bit bigger. Actually, I haven't gotten back to check yet. Somebody was asking if the melanistic red deer that we shot scored at the top of its estimate, because we were wondering if that's changed with this update. Now, I forget what this estimate said. I thought, like, it couldn't have been 185, because I think he's smaller than that. Maybe 165. I'll have to go back and pay attention in editing, but our first rare on Rancho since the update, 161.3. Now, I thought there was a 5 in that estimate. Actually, it was just double lung. Didn't even need the heart shot at 100 meters with that 454. Pretty cool. I think we've only shot, like, maybe 1 or 2 animals with it, one being a Cape Buffalo on Verhunga for sure, and then this guy. Definitely going to be a second large trophy. I don't know that we have very many rare whitetail in there, if any. Not bad. Just hanging out here at the big Bosque Alto Lake. What is going on? It's a level 1. That's also unfortunate. I guess we can try the 223 on an albino. Go figure. Literally, we just fast traveled. The last thing we shot was the other albino down here at this little lake in the southwest. It's been traditionally a pretty decent lake for whitetail since Rancho came out. Never a ton of them all in one spot, but usually a couple of bucks, and I can't say I've shot a rare here before, so that's kind of a first. And then I guess the move is gonna be attempt to alert him. Hopefully we can get like a good frontal heart shot opportunity. And we need to keep in mind, the ARs still are a little bit inaccurate. They kind of hit high and right just a bit. Not really enough to affect lung shots, but definitely enough to affect a precise shot like this. That's a good buck back in there too. Solid level 2. I think that should be a heart shot. Maybe not. We were a little bit close. He's going down. We must have hit a lung. I'm going to be very intrigued to see where that hit. Honestly, more so than anything, I'm most impressed with the fact that at that angle, if we missed the heart, the 223 still got a lung. Like, I was not extremely impressed with it when we took it to Verhunga on the first day when we were able to stream it. We shot a diamond jackal with it. It did fine, but I didn't think it was going to end up replacing our 243. That looked a whole lot better, and I don't think anything has changed. So then what actually happened there? Because I felt like we lined that up pretty good. right lung. Oh, wow. Maybe it's the range? It was 120 meters. I don't know that that would be considered close, but I guess we should have just aimed a little more towards the center of the chest. Stayed way too low and left to kind of counteract that high and right that the ARs have. Interesting though, we get one more of these, we'll have a multi-mount for that second lodge. Actually, we do have that multi-mount of Melanistics that Kyla shot when she was visiting in July of 2021, but maybe we can have an albino one. Literally from the beginning of this hunt, I've been waiting for an opportunity on a bobcat, and I don't understand what happened, but that first shot completely missed. I don't know if it skipped to the side, or why that didn't impact. I have no idea where the second shot hit. It's running off as if it's going to go down. Let's actually just see. Let's see how it does on a class 3 animal, and it could have been anything from a flesh hit to a lung shot, but I wanted to just give it a shot on something that would be really ethical on. And of course, we used the 22H for our class 2 animals today, so Bobcat was the natural choice for the 223, and I think it did good. I still don't know what happened. It was evidently somehow intestines and stomach. I don't quite know, like that. I understand the bullet path is never exactly right, but it almost looks like it should have gone straight through the liver to get that particular hit. Honestly, if it brought down a bobcat that quickly with a less than stellar shot, I would think it's going to do pretty good if we can get one lined up. Maybe where the first shot doesn't seemingly just go through the animal, because there was that only one hit. So hopefully this time we can get a shot where the animal's actually still standing still. I want to try to alert him kind of like we did with the mythical. The issue is we're up on a high point and we can't exactly just run straight at him, so I'm hoping to just kind of move around enough with him being in range to hear it that we can get him just to stand still for a second. I think that will get into a lung kind of through the shoulder, or assuming that the 223 is really a viable weapon for a bobcat, I would hope that it would. Now, I didn't see any health drop, and unfortunately we are dropping down on this little high point. It's not going down. That's so interesting, because the shot that we had that was less than ideal did a lot better. Now, we could have come up with a more ideal angle for sure. Actually, he just went nervous already. I just wanted to kind of take a shot where I thought, if I'm going to really consider this a super viable bobcat weapon, then I wanted to be able to go through a shoulder like this. Now, it didn't accomplish that, but I think we're still going to get a second chance here, just as long as we can keep an eye on him and eventually get him in the open again. Might be tough though, just to get him broadside, because now we're relying on alerting him again. He's actually dying too, very slowly, but we want to get the shot off before he's actually going to drop. Health seems to be going down a lot quicker now, so I'd like to think that got into a lung. If that hit the shoulder blade on our first shot and wasn't enough to bring him down, I'm not sure that I'm really going to trust it on like some longer shots and situations such as that, where sometimes, you know, you get one fleeting opportunity at a diamond or a rare and you want your gun to be able to hit that. It was very close. Had the angle been a little bit better, I'm certain it could have gotten it. You know, if we're carrying the 223 and a legendary bobcat comes out, I'm not saying I wouldn't shoot it, but I would definitely, you know, think twice about any shot that's not close to ideal. And like I was saying, I definitely like to not have to second guess the guns that I'm using, but it just depends on the loadout, I suppose, and certainly is viable, just maybe not the top choice. But anyway, we need to go back to the second trophy lodge. Got 2 albino whitetail to place, and while we may not have been able to complete the trifecta, 2 albino whitetail from initial spawns is pretty good, and just kind of replacing a couple of old rare Merriam turkeys. One even was a light brown, so not exactly a rare by any stretch anymore, at least. But that's pretty cool. It was nice to get out to Rancho. We got a lot of testing done with the 22H and a bit with the 223 there. Obviously, the 454 on whitetail and really the 223, even in that one shot, did pretty well. I just think there's going to have to be some more testing done with that 223 to get that frontal angle lung, but then not be able to get the Bobcat. I'm just not too sure what I think of it. But anyway, that is going to do it for this video. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.